Hello everyone, it's Norm, Captain Contrary, coming at you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in March of 2025, and it is like 80 degrees out and absolutely fantastic. So I know it's been a while since I've made a video, and I've been kind of on the busy side here since about November, which was about the last time I made a video. But I'm hoping to get some free time soon and to start making more frequent videos. But what really tugged on my heart here lately, mostly because it's actually been a bone of contention between myself and some other people, because maybe I'm just not being articulate enough. Because I am not the most articulate person in the world. Far from it. I'm sometimes a man of few words, and other times a man of many words, and I say a whole lot of nothing. So, but anyways, so that's what this video is going to be about, and it's going to be about Signalgate. I want to clear some stuff up about that. So I want to caveat all this to say that I use Signal, will continue to use Signal. I think Signal is a really good secure messaging app for stuff that you just don't want to get out there. Like messages between you and your wife, or or you and your husband, or a small group of friends that it's not meant. It's the same stuff that you would say behind closed doors, right? That's what it's good for, and you should treat Signal like that. If you're using a Signal, just realize that there's always there's always an additional person in that room, or there could be an additional person in that room when you're talking on Signal. All right, and that additional person is the CIA. That's what I'm talking about. So that being said, when this news story broke about the Trump administration doing their cabinet level positions, using Signal to communicate with each other about anything really, but in this particular case about dropping bombs on targets, even though that information was going to be public, and they didn't say anything that was like super secretive, and there was that reporter that was in there. That's not what bothers me. All right, I that's not even remotely the point of my frustration with the administration using Signal. It is the fact that they use Signal, period, as an app, because the CIA is in control of Signal. So everything that you say and do on Signal, the CIA is listening in on, or has the potential of listening. I don't think they listen in to everything. They don't really care about that. They care about good information and good intel for them, and they care about what the Trump administration is doing. The Trump administration is very interesting to the CIA. So in case you didn't know or haven't figured this out yet, the CIA looks at the Trump administration, much like the FBI does, as the enemy. All right. Now, I don't believe the Trump administration look at the CIA that way, but the CIA and the FBI clearly, from stuff that's happened in 2016, in the first Trump administration, and up until now, the CIA is definitely against the Trump administration and the moves that the Trump administration is making. They are the deep state. They are the enemy, or they view Trump as the enemy, and so they're here to undermine the Trump administration. So if you're the Trump administration and you're looking to, to limit or eliminate the Central Intelligence Agency and the deep state, you're using an app that they control. And so they will be one step ahead of you in everything that you say and do or plan to do. All right? Because they're there listening to what you're doing. And that, in a nutshell, is my problem with Signal for the Trump administration, and why I think the Trump administration should condemn the use of it. So, all the way up until December of 2024, the government and the CIA did not want Signal on any of their phones or any of their devices. It was expressly prohibited, as I understand. And then in December of 2024, they had a change of heart. Wonder why? You know, what was going to happen in a month from December 2024? Can anybody in the room think of something major that would have possibly caused them to change their mind? Oh, that's right. Donald Trump was going to be inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America for a second term. You know? And so they said, oh, yeah, it's great. We're going to put it on every phone. Of course they would. Of course. You know, how generous of them to do that. Yeah, they want it on every phone, especially cabinet level positions, and their, you know, and their number ones and number twos behind them. They definitely want that kind of information because they can just sit there on a wire and they can know for sure what's going on. And not only that, because Signal is open source, I'm pretty sure China, maybe even Russia, and a couple other countries are listening on the wire too. This is not the app to use for heads of state. It's not. It's not the app to use for your cabinet level positions collaboration. It's an insecure, compromised app. You know, it's for that. It's, you know, it's fine for me and for you and to talk on it because we're talking about what to pick up at the grocery store. You know, the large reason for using Signal is because Google and Facebook don't have access to it the way that they would love to have access to it, and that just limits their information. Because, you know, if you talk to your phone or you mention that, oh, I'm going on a trip, or we're thinking about going on a trip, the next thing you know, you start seeing advertisements on Facebook and Google for, you know, stuff. So they're listening in too, but on Signal, they're not. They can't, and that's largely who your biggest concern is. You know, so if you're planning on doing something nefarious, you don't plan on doing it on your phone. That's for sure. You know, I said, you know, if you're going to do something nefarious, you meet in the woods and you write everything down and you draw out plans like they did in Braveheart on you know, on the ground, and then when you're done, you tamp it over with your feet and you move on. But you leave your phone and your computer and all your electronics behind, and you basically show up in the woods in shorts and a t-shirt. You know, that's how you got to plan to do something with surprise, because otherwise nation states know. You know, and it is my deeply held belief that that nation states, the CIA, and their, you know, their Hydra head, you know, of the organizations that they have built out from that, you know, InQtel and all the other little, you know, USAID and stuff like that. They use that stuff to fund terror groups, you know, because these terror groups don't just crop up out of nowhere and fly planes into buildings. They know that stuff. They know it's going to happen. And they turn a blind eye to it because, well, it's their money and that's what they bought. And so they knew where Osama bin Laden was the entire time. You know, you'd have a hard time convincing me otherwise. Um, that's they funded him. They funded the Saudis. They know where their money goes and what it buys them. So to wrap this up a little bit here, yeah, the deep state, the deep state in the CIA. If you're using your cell phone and for anything, quite possibly even a burner phone, they're gonna know. So that's why I say the Trump administration needs to condemn and ban the use of Signal. And I think that they really need to have a deep, a long and hard conversation about other apps as well, and try to come up with something, a better way. I mean, to communicate than what they're using right now that we know of. I'm sure that there are extremely secure things that are available to them. That's what they should be using. They shouldn't be using Signal or Telegram or Wicker or what's the WhatsApp. Come on, no, don't do that. It's just a terrible idea. So, and then the other thing is that we as MAGA and as people who have supported the administration, we need to stand up and say, you're doing something wrong. We don't need to be acting or like leftists and going, oh no, our guy can't do any wrong, or they can't make, our people can't make bad decisions. They're people. They screw up. We screw up. I screw up. In this particular case, this decision was made before any of them were even nominated, right? Or their names were just being tossed around when the decision was made to allow this. So they come in and the CIA says, oh yeah, use Signal. If you're Tulsi or Kash Patel or you're Pete Hegseth or or JD Vance or Donald Trump, it's your natural instinct to go, oh yeah, let's just use this app. These people are smart and they know what's going on. They're our friends. And that's the hubris of the Trump administration, thinking that that they are their friends. They are not. So I'm not blaming them specifically for using this app. I'm just saying they should come down hard and condemn the use of it and go back to the ban that existed prior to the Trump administration taking over and prior to December of 2024. Make it happen. And and come out and say, hey, we had a lapse in judgment. We didn't realize that this is just not a good app, and just commit to not using it and ban it again. That's essentially what I'm saying. Now I know that other people out there making a big deal about it, and they're like, oh, we need the heads of state to, we need Pete Hegseth gone. He can't make it. That's just noise, and that's just we would be doing the same thing from our side if it was any other administration, Hillary Rodham Clinton or Obama or Biden or whoever might be next. That's just politics. That's DC politics. You ignore them, people. You ignore those people because, well, you'd be saying the same thing if it was the other side. But if you're fair and you're honest and you're looking at it, you gotta go, hey, we goofed, let's move on. And I think at least that's kind of what they've done thus far. They haven't condemned the use of it. I really would like to see that. I would like them to reverse that, but sometimes it takes a really big leak of information and for them to trace it back even further to go, oh, now we see the error of our ways. And I think if they continue using this app without pulling it back right now, that's probably what's going to happen. Is they're going to have a really big leak come out, and they're going to have some egg on their face because of it, because they didn't do it in a timely manner, or they failed to act on it when they should have. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess. So that's what I mean by condemn, is to just get rid of that app altogether. Now, again, you can keep using it. There's nothing wrong with Signal as far as that's concerned. It's otherwise a really good app. But yeah, another point I made is that, just to drive this home a little bit, just for those of you who may still be a naysayer watching this going, it's not that big. Let me put it to you this way. If you're going to continue at the nation state level, at that cabinet level, to continue to use Signal for your app, then you might as well, for every communication you have, just carbon copy Hillary Rodham Clinton, right? Or Barack Obama, or the DNC, because that's who's going to be the benefactor of the leaks, right? I'm not saying them specifically in the future, but just to get you an idea of the type of people that are going to benefit from the leaks. That's them. It's them, and it's whoever is going to be running in 2028, or whoever. If JD Vance decides to run, it's whoever he's going to be facing. They're going to be the benefactors of the information that the CIA is going to, and I guarantee the CIA will leak that information. There's no question in my mind about that, because they're shady as hell, and they are not America first. They are power first, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say on the matter. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I look forward to making another video in the not too distant future.